a wrap.
Doggone it, here we are again. Welcome back to another Shitcast, everyone. We've got ourselves an interesting little replay here to be had between two classic, well, one of them pretty classic at this point, low-level shit-tier game here. And we're going to be starting off with our contender at the very bottom here, a recurring character, the very first in this long series of disappointing casting ability and commentary, and that's going to be the very Bisq01, renowned for his casual and non-competitive attitude towards the community. He does not play this game for reals like the rest of us. And over here we have HideLord. HideLord. HideLord sounds a bit better, to be honest, but we'll concede with that little name there. And we've got ourselves the classic UEF versus Seraphim on Strife of Titan R1. R1, probably mash that button if you're slamming on the controller there. And let the game commence. I'm probably going to set this on +3 because, to be honest, I don't think there's going to be very much action going to be packing in this very first segment, considering their low levels and who we're dealing with. HideLord seems to be going for a heavy power build here, which I am concerned with how little mass he has available, which is about to plummet into the zero. Negative? I was about to say negative, but that's pretty much it. Yep, there we go. And he's going to be stalling there, struggling to get himself back up in shape. Bisq, on the other hand, getting himself a pretty normal regulated flow here, and has actually built a sensible little unit here, the transport. He's planning to do some expanding, something I am quite shocked about. Actually, he did that in the last shitcast that I reflected on him, so not all that surprising, I suppose. Going very minimal on power this early on, although now he's committing to getting that started there. And here we got the first onset of a transport drop, although he only, okay, there he goes, dropping the rest of those to assist with that engineer to get a PD up there. Might want to consider doing a factory, land factory. Get back into the regular view. Enough with the peeking at their ecos. And some raiding going on now, with some tanks and a scout directly headed into that very same position, which unfortunately has already been well suited up with a PD that's going to deny any sort of raiding going on over there. And really, not much else in expansion. Bisq actually doing some reclaiming, that's pretty sweet, although the reclaim on this map isn't all that well bunched. You only get a few little specks of some chunky mass, little thickness to add to your collection. And said could be same for both players. It's not too shabby, although HideLord seems to be getting himself a little bit more situated and expanding around his base. So far, Bisq is secluded in his little toy box. And he's built 2 more transports. Fascinating. Is that? Yes, that is the second and third transports, which so far are idling by. And not putting much use into those, unfortunately. And this is actually his second third factory. The first actually being in his own base, relying on his air factory this entire extended period of time. And here we have another raid going on. That same group must have diverged and gone south towards his own base instead of going over here, which made better sense, to be honest. Some T1 bombers to be had. His opponent has... Nope, he's just got an idle air factory. Not going to be putting that to much use, I don't think. Especially not going to be able to deal with this bomber problem that intends to swarm his outer skirts. Is that the... Yes, I think that is the bomber's patrol order. He intends to patrol these landscapes with his air superiority fighters. Air-to-ground units. What a savage combatant Bisq is. With HideLord's ACU actually at the very center of the map, building anti-air towers here, targeting his ACU. And there he actually decides to focus down on these sons of bitches. And with the map control comfortably favoring HideLord so far, actually going around and actually building, taking mass extractors and pushing his base around. That other drop actually went here and took it directly under his nose. HideLord unfortunately getting peppered and bullied by the T1 bombers. So far still has actually no interceptors so far. That will be his very first to come out of the air factory. Though Bisq does have a semi-strong presence. He's very well confident that he can sustain himself with the bomber game, as Bisq usually does. There's the next drop. He's actually decided to go around back, right where two land factories have decided to construct their first tanks and support his land spam. He's actually the only one who has land spam. Everything that Bisq has is neatly, very well, yeah, this about sums up every carnival ride, or at least the bumper cars section. Oh, FAF pathfinding, you gotta admire it sometimes. Some real sophisticated engineering going on here. I love it. Still no air. All of HideLord's air superiority is, well, shattered to pieces with that one lone fighter. And unfortunately, still no anti-air means besides the ones that are, well, he's actually built a couple more air factories. Gone T2 Air HQ at the very center of the map. Ballsy. And all these tanks actually coming right down on Bisq's front door. My goodness. I'd be genuinely concerned for Bisq at this point, although HideLord doesn't seem too infatuated with actually dealing with the ACU at all, although we do got T2PD that's just sprung up. Those T1 bombers clean up as a result. And all this is still fairly barren. It's the proper strategist right here. You're starting Ras at the very center of the map with no T2 economy so far. Only relying solely on the flexibility of T1 P-gens. At least he's got T2 mexes. Bisq is still relying entirely on the income of his T1 mass extractors. He's even resorted to using drones. Only when he can afford it, ladies and gentlemen. Reclaim so far. 3,000, almost 4K there in the bank for Bisq for reclaim numbers. And only 510 for HideLord. Surprising that Bisq has actually gone to some extent to actually reclaim around his base. HideLord has hardly done a thing about that. Even though, if I recall, yes, HideLord is substantially farther ahead in mass income and total economy. He is just leading with barrels deep in the asshole with this. Bisq is playing a very dangerous game. And at least, I mean, further proof is in the pudding here. He's going to have Raz here, even though no doubt he's crashing his entire... Wow. He's actually sustaining himself here for this upgrade. That is something else. Only 605 energy stall. Not stall, but as far as a drain. It's actually... Although it's no longer showing that it's actually a Raz upgrade, it's actually not too shabby for his ACU. Yeah, he could handle that just fine. I suppose what this might have been was just a lone little snoop actually pelting this little T2 mass extractor over here, only to get pummeled by a Notha. I feel as though the Notha might have done more damage to HideLord's pride more than the snoop ever could have done. Might have taken the entire match just for that to happen. And there we go. Watching one of Bisq's side expansions going down rather easily. With the T3 land actually emerging out of this T3 land HQ. Still, I don't think he has any T2 mass extractors so far. How is he sustaining the economy? Well, his power situation is what's killing him right now. 33 plus mass. Knows his way around a economy bar, I see. Mass number of T2PD in the center. This massive wave of Zooies and Thams just patrolling, skirting around the edge of this T3 land army, though. Small as it may be, Titans are going to be pretty effective against those tanks and Zooies. Although, as it stands now, watching those Nothas just bully the shit out of those Titans. I think had a few of them die to those. But, in response, flak is the suitable answer. Still no air, though. I suppose he's far foregone that potential route. And he's decided to even get some more land factories going. Take advantage of the fact that his opponent is so reclused in his little base there. And... do my eyes play tricks on me? These are 2 land HQs. Inconceivable. At least he's decided to go around and get some Ilshivas going. He might actually get some support. Nope. 2 more land HQs to further boost his supremacy into T2 land. Not that it gives him any build power increase, I don't think. What is that? My bar wasn't blocking the motherfucking the build power, which I believe is 40 or 48. It looks like 48. And this looks to be 40. 40, that's what I thought. So, same build power. Extensively much less efficient to build more than one T2 land HQ, or any HQ for that matter, unless you're susceptible to possibly losing those HQs, which I don't think at this point HideLord has any trouble with dealing right now. Well, Bisq tries his very best to return to the air game supremacy, but he has been bested by out of fuel Seraphim T1 planes. And it seems like those are attack missiles. He was trying to go for the little Titans, which did not suit him very well in this situation. Oh my goodness. He's decided to just throw all caution to the wind and build all these T1 land factories into Ilshivas. Well, you don't directly produce Ilshivas out of a T1 factory, but you get the gist. He's upgraded these all to T2 support factories. These Titans have actually decided to go all around to go and raid some of HideLord's economy structures on the side here. Will he be able to do anything about that, I wonder? He actually might pose a huge threat to this little cluster here, which is another set of T2 land HQs. I guess he had in mind that, you know, might as well be safe than sorry. And as we watch now, the unfolding of a great swarm, which is being completely dicked on by this small wall, clustering all these groups of units together, Zooies and Thams and all. All the Ilshivas have already succumbed to the T2 PD fire. And just loads of these tanks are just getting fucking beamed, my guy. My god. There is nothing but horror as torrents of Ilshivas and Zooies meet the end of the barrel there. That makes me very sad. The struggles of war have never been greater than now. It's decided, well, I mean, he's built a ton of T1 land factories so far. Still nothing to be done about his own economy here as well. And as we can see from the path strewn by what I believe is the drones, I believe we are watching, yes, 2 UEF drones going out and, well, capturing this one, but reclaiming this T2 mass extractor. What is going on? Oh my lord. As I suspected. English, man. English. As I suspected, Bisq is pulling the old 1-2 puncher, deciding to utilize his drones by building PD up onto the very cliff edge behind his opponent's base. Oh, I remember when he used to bean me using this strategy. I really have no idea how at the time I was just maybe like a 400 or 500, to be fair. Still, just seeing this unfold before my eyes is really, really a gracious thing. And what? What? No way. There's an incredible number of Ilshivas that are strewn just dead. And from the way that they're positioned, there's no way they could have killed all of this. With this much arty, there would not be this much mass value left. There would not be all this reclaim. And from HideLord's expression, it seems like I guess he's reacting to that, but I'm baffled here. Did he accidentally control K all of these Ilshivas? Did he control K all of these Ilshivas as they were trying to punch through here? There's no way. I think that's what happened. Because, hold on. Oh my lord. Kicking it back down to regular speed here. As, oh my goodness. Maybe that did happen. Although, there was a lot of dead UEF units. That must have happened. Oh my lord. Carnage. As these Ilshivas are bracing against fucking Lobo fire, hailing from all directions. And Titan fire to support them. Bisq does lose a few land factories and quite a substantial number of arty, but At what cost, man? Holy shit. The reclaim that has been dumped on Bisq's front door here is nothing to scoff at. And with this number of Ilshivas, that's borderline just game ending right there for T2 stage. My god. There's no reason for Bisq to even win that conflict were it not for HideLord's poor micro capability there, rushing in. And the Titans up here are cleaning up after what seems to be a failed attempt further down with the PD. But he is going to mop up here. And I guess, well, I must commend HideLord for at least thinking this all out ahead of time. He really juked me there. Speaking of, these T2 missile launchers, they can reach this T3 land HQ, and to my knowledge, Bisq retains no form of TMD defense. We've watched him pelt units with these TMLs already, but has he not really considered actually using these to snipe the HQ? Just watching as his expansion just gets pummeled by a small band of Titans and just 2 drones. How else can you recover from that? My god. I suppose HideLord retains his eco right now thanks to his Raz, although he does not have a whole lot of eco, especially as much as he's been rated. No attempts to recover from that. And another battle ensues as the fucking gates of Mordor have finally opened. It's like the return of the king. The final push into Sauron's forces. Bisq unloads all of his artillery and Titans into defending against these Ilshivas. He's even built a little proxy base here, going as far as building T2 artillery. However, I suspect that those won't last very long, considering how many already are bolting down his base, or this lane rather. And unfortunately, as anyone would really guess out of T2 PD from Seraphim, this is not going to end very well. That hill incline is not going to do him any justice, unfortunately. His T2 artillery is targeting the land factories that are spamming out this unrelenting force of Lobos and just T1 tanks. Although nothing else, really. I don't think he's actually resumed construction of his own Titans. Not even pressuring his opponent with more T3 land. Then again, he doesn't even have the eco for it. Although he's certainly taken his gander at using HideLord's own eco against him. And all those Ilshivas, so many succumbing to the Lobo fire, and despite how many fall, more have come to just take their place. Although this might have finally come to a steady decline for the battle, as I believe with this set here and more reinforcing Ilshivas to come, this won't be nearly as punishing to deal with. If he micros well, he can certainly defend himself properly. These Ilshivas decide to cut the middleman short and push on beyond that army, but all of them are brutally damaged as more T1 spam come out to meet them head on and with hardly any trouble at all. I shudder to think that he might actually utilize those drones again. I do not want to know what kind of untold horrors he might unleash upon HideLord. Mercy is really succumbed to Bisq's unrelenting presence. There is no mercy here. And these Ilshivas now prep to move along the side assault, which is not going to do very much, although take out some build power. There is still a fairly good chunk of defenses still loitering around the base. And Titans here and there, and another, actually a T3 land factory, a support factory, will be producing Titans, which is basically what he needs. If anything, Percival's will do the trick. Still more Ilshivas. It's daunting to watch all of these Ilshivas just crumble before these plasma bolts of destruction. As a Seraphim main myself, it makes me grieve. These are more TMLs here, I see. And I wonder if he's finally thought to himself, with all that scouting that he's done with his own Ilshivas and whatnot, can he use TML structures, weaponry rather, to take out this T3 land HQ? The only thing that Bisq can reliably count on at this stage. And oh no, Hansel and Gretel are out to find more prey. Out to find the witch. Let's see. The air game has come to a grinding halt as basically these interceptors are just floating around aimlessly, and these Nathas, well, is he even, yeah, he's still producing Nathas. Hasn't occurred to him yet that perhaps maybe T3 air is a feasible option. Then again, he's built two air HQs, not surprisingly, beside each other. At least he's retained, Bisq has retained some of his little raiding efforts here at expanding. And there's a Natha actually setting out to do what he was destined to do. And I hear the first volley of TML is launching. And I think they are primed for the T3 land HQ. That's what I suspect, ladies and gentlemen. Prove me wrong. Watch this replay. And that's exactly where it's going. And even more just hurtling in, which I believe is all set on the same target. I don't believe this is truly necessary, although UEF T3HQ does have a resilience to such damage with a ton of HP. I really don't believe that was wholesomely necessary. Now, what's his next target? I believe that's going straight for the T2P gen. And he really wants to make sure that there are no survivors to account for what has transpired here. As a little skirmish ensues here, the TMLs just fly overhead and make their way to skew the land of all that's holy. I will guess that this is also going for the T3 support factory. Kicking him while he's down. Yes, and at this point, I do not believe Bisq has any means of defending against this horde of Ilshivas as we see Bisq throw in the Control K. No touching words to summarize what has transpired here. No attempts to jab at his opponent with Smurf, Bias, Wise Old Dog. Yes, I will inform you that Bisq is quite fond of this whole shitcasting thing. In fact, he genuinely believes that Bias and I, and maybe a couple others, he's mentioned a few other names of people I don't recall. Either way, he believes that these people who do defeat him are in fact some higher level players that are hunting him, and he's screeching at ghosts on the walls, crying the boogeyman. So, with that out of the way, we have watched as Bisq has taken a hard fall here. Hard to really swallow that one, seeing how relentless Bisq was, a master tactician, eventually succumb to this inevitable defeat. It's disheartening. This might really tear tensions throughout the FAF community. Such a sad thing to watch. Anyway, well, I was fairly... Oh man, all these Ilshivas. I mean, can I not say that I don't have a heart on just watching all of these chickens just marching on and decimating a UEF barbarian such as this one. Oh my goodness. It's gratifying enough to watch Seraphim, Zuis, and Nathas and all this stuff, but Ilshiva is just orgasmic pleasure. Well, with that out of the way then, we're all set, and thank you so much for watching for this little shitcast here, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Alright, take care guys.